Hey everyone, happy to be here to talk a little bit about something that came up yesterday during a conversation with one of my friends, and is how to love the parts of you that you're not 100% comfortable with. For example, the part of you that judges, the part of you that criticizes other people, the part of you that thinks knows best, thinks that knows more than other people, the part of you that cries very easily, the part of you that pleases other people. And it's very personal for each one of you. And we're made up of all these parts, right? We're made up of all these little pieces in us. And all these parts make up the whole of us, right? So I feel that in order to come to terms with them, in order to accept them, in order to embrace them, in order to welcome them back, and not beat ourselves up for being this person at some moments in our lives, we need to start to love them. We need to start to welcome them back into our lives. We need to start making peace with them. But I know sometimes it's really hard, because how do you love the part of you, for example, that continuously keeps judging other people? So you find yourself talking to somebody or a friend, and this friend is telling you something, and all you can do in your head is think, well, that's not true. She's really not feeling that, or I don't care about what she's doing, or all these thoughts in your head. And then hasn't it happened to you that you're constantly then beating yourself up for them, because you're like, fuck, you shouldn't be judging your friend, or you shouldn't be thinking about all these things, you shouldn't be doing this, come on, be a nice person, you're higher than that, like, don't go that way, right? So we beat ourselves up for all these parts that are still in us. But when you start to do the inner work and you start to be curious with the part, like basically treating it like a new friend, like you're making a new best friend with this part of you. And it requires a conversation, it requires getting really close to it, and it requires making friends with it. Just like you would make a new friend outside, you know, like in your real everyday life. Like, how do you make a new friend? You're curious about them, right? You ask questions. You ask where they come from, what they're doing, what do they like to do. And that's exactly what happens with all these parts of you that you're still rejecting inside of you. You have to make them your best friends. You have to invite them into your life. You have to get close to them. You have to be curious about them. You have to start asking the questions to unravel where this is coming from. And when I mean start a conversation, I really mean start a conversation. Like, you sit down in your couch, in your house, comfortable, and maybe you close your eyes and do your meditation. You call on this part of you. Okay, little judgment part of me, come, you know, I welcome you. I want to hear what you want to say. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear where you're coming from. What part of you is still hurting? What part of you is still in pain? What part of you has been judged before? What has hurt you? How has judgment hurt you before? Where is the judgment about yourself coming from? You know, and then you start to listen. You start to ask the questions and you start to listen to the answers. You give that part of you the opportunity and the permission to freely express itself. And when I mean that you don't answer from your mind. You don't ask the questions and then go answer yourself. You wait. You wait for what comes up. You take a deep breath. And you listen. And then you start getting stuff. You start listening to the parts of you that probably have been judged all your life, and that has created a wound in you, and that's still alive in you, and that's still hurting you till this day. to this in this present moment. So it's basically your past, it's still affecting your present moment. It's still affecting your life. And until that wound, it's not open, it's not cleaned, it's not taken care of and nurtured, then it's not going to be healed. And this cycle is going to continue. It's going to continue on, and it's going to keep you prisoner of your emotions and of your beliefs and whatever it is that it's keeping you stuck, and it's not letting you be the full version of yourself, the true version of you, which is absolute, pure amazingness and love. Because this is our true essence. This is what we are inside of us. When we peel the layers away, when we let that stuff go, this is what we are. The truth of our core, it's pure love. So returning yourself back to love, returning all the parts of you back to love, require to be honest, first of all, to be honest with what's going on. And to be honest requires also to be aware. You need to be aware where this is coming up, and to be aware, you need to also be mindful and notice where stuff triggers you in your life, right? So, and I know this is easy to say, but when you start to develop, it's easy to say, but it's not so easy to do. But when you start to really listen to the conversations that go inside of your head, in your mind, you're gonna know which thoughts are the loudest ones, which ones keep repeating themselves constantly, which ones keep, like on repeat the whole day. And when you do, take note of that, like pay attention to that. And when that comes up, and when you're completely like aware, and you're like, okay, shit, I got it. This is something that I keep repeating. This is something that keeps happening in my life. This is something that keeps coming up every day. Then that part of you needs your loving attention. That's what it's here for. That is why it's coming up. That is why it's calling for your attention. It's a part of you that you probably have neglected along your life, and it's here to be seen. It's here to be acknowledged. It's here to be returned to love. It's here to be healed once and for all, so that it can finally shift and transform into another beautiful energy. It no longer has to be stuck in there. And this happens by being honest with yourself, by taking notice and being aware of where these thoughts and patterns are coming from. And once you have these two down, you need to have this conversation with that part of you. You need to invite that part over to your house for some coffee or some tea. You really need to do this. And you need to find yourself comfortable, and you need to start asking the questions. Start treating this part of you as this little baby that hasn't gotten a chance to speak up yet. And all you have to do is really listen and give that part of you the space, the safe space to be able, for that part of you to be able to express, to talk, to finally be able to say what it needs to say without being filtered, without being punished, without being rejected, without being ridiculed or made fun of. Because this is what's probably happened to you before when you spoke up. This is what probably happened to you, and the reason why you shoved your emotions down is because there was a negative action or a negative experience that resulted from this. So you shut yourself down, and you didn't give yourself the opportunity and the chance to express yourself in whatever way you needed to at that moment. And because we don't have these tools when we're little, when we don't have these tools when we're growing up, they don't teach us these things. We shove things down. We keep them inside. We eat them back up. We stop speaking. We stop expressing ourselves. We shut down. we really shut down. And all this does is it keeps repeating, and it keeps repeating itself in your adult life, in your relationships, until it's so loud, and it's the part of you is screaming so loud that it's so annoying. Literally, like every day you're like, well, why do I feel like this? But why do I keep thinking this? Why do I keep going there? Why is that a constant pattern in my life? And it's not until you get really, really tired of it that you start doing this work. And this is the work back to self-love. Because doing this work, it's loving yourself. It's loving every part of you that you have rejected. Every part of you that you have neglected. Every part of you that you have shut down. It's bringing all the little pieces that have been spread out around your life back to you. Back to love. Back into your heart. And making that peace with it, and so that relationship with the part can be healed. And from there, you're free. Like, you're literally free from that. You can, when that part is healed, when that wound has been clean, taken care of, and healed, it's gonna transform, it's gonna shift, it's gonna heal, and you're gonna be free. The sensation after that is freedom. It's complete freedom. It's peace with it. And something similar may come up next time, but you're already gonna know where it's coming from. It's no longer gonna have a charge like it did before. It's no longer gonna trigger you like that. It's no longer gonna bother you anymore like it did before, because it's healed already. You might notice it, you might be aware of it, but it's not affecting you because that's been taken care of, because you already acknowledged it, you already welcomed it into your life, and you already accepted it back into love, into pure love where it always belonged. So, wanted to leave you with that, and just start being mindful, start being aware, and start inviting all the parts of you that need to be returned to love. And that process is the process of returning yourself back to love. It's loving yourself. And that's the root of everything. Self-love is the root of everything, is from where everything else starts from, emerges from. From you being at peace with yourself, from you being free from the lies, from you feeling everything you need to feel and being okay with it, for you being completely at ease with who you are. And that's just the most beautiful, beautiful sensation there is. Like, if you have experienced this, I mean, there is nothing else like it. So start doing the work, start doing your work. You're worth it. You are absolutely worth it, and you deserve it. And all the little parts inside of you that are screaming for your attention, start to pay attention to them. That's all they want, is your attention, your loving attention. So if you need help with any of this, I'm a transformational life coach for women, and this is what I love to do. Keep checking out my videos, follow me. All the info is going to be here, sending you lots of love, and love yourself so much today. Bye, guys.